Years ago, when I first started reading books and really studying and implementing for the purposes of personal growth, one of the most influential books was The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. There were several editions of that through the years. I bought all of them, I read all of them, I studied them, and I continued refining my implementation of what he taught. One of the things that stuck with me early on and has continued to influence me is what he says about time. He says that time can be our friend or our enemy. It can promote us or expose us. The choice is ours. Now, what he talks about in that book is really our small habits, the things that we do every single day, compounds over time. And if it's a good habit, that's usually to our benefit, so time works to our advantage and it promotes us, if you will, we continue to get better. If we have a habit or something that we do that is, well, maybe not so good, time is against us because we have the compounding effect in a negative direction and time exposes us. That was his idea. That's the slight edge. He talked very much about the tiny things that we do in our life and the impact that they have. And they can either work for us, time can work for us, or against us. Let me give you a couple of examples. About that time, there were a lot of people that I were following, and many, if not most of them, really talked about the power of journaling, of writing every single day. Now, they all had slight variations on it, and yet eventually it just seemed to me on my journey of self-improvement that it made sense to begin journaling. That was probably 15 years ago, 18 years ago. It was quite a while ago. And through the years, how I journal, what I journal in has changed. And yet the constant has been that I journal almost every day, frequently twice a day, and it has become a very powerful tool in my life. It is a place for me to capture my thinking, my ideas, my reflections. I have found that having it written, I can go back when I'm doing, say, a quarterly review, and I can skim through those journal entries to see what was my mindset, what was I thinking, what was I focused on, what was going well, what was I struggling with. Very powerful. So that is a very small habit that I began that time has worked to my advantage. It has compounded into a very powerful tool that has, in essence, promoted me. That's an example. Let me give you another one. When I was working in education, and early on, like many people, I could eat a lot of different things and it really didn't impact my weight. I could exercise or not, and if I chose not to for a while and then I went back into it, it was really pretty easy, right? No problem. Again, time can either promote us or expose us. I formed no habit in that time of my life that was a good habit in terms of diet and exercise. What do you think happened over time? I gained weight and I lost physical fitness. Time exposed those decisions that I made at that point in my life. And you may be going, okay, true, I get it. And what does this relate to and why does it matter? It relates to the fact that when we stay in the present and we have these habits, and at the moment they don't seem that big of a deal one way or the other, when we stay there, our present is influencing our future. Now, in the case of my journaling, it influenced it to the positive. In the case of my eating and exercise, it influenced it to the negative. I was exposed with more than 60 pounds of extra weight. Let me give you an alternate way of thinking about this. When we create a long-term goal for our life, between 3 and 10 years, when we create that goal, when we take the time to really give thought to what does our ideal life at that point look like, that allows us to use the future, that goal that we've written, that ideal life, to influence the present. When we have a vivid description of what we want our life to look like and what we're doing in that life, it's really quite easy to take that information, come back to the present and go, how's it looking? Am I on track? Am I moving in that direction? Am I moving closer to or further from that? Had I asked myself that question with my eating and exercise, the results may have been much different. At that time in my life, I was really thinking fairly short term. And in the short term, there didn't seem to be too many downsides. If we want the slight edge to work to our benefit, if we want to enjoy compounding habits to the positive, it's really critical that we have an idea of what we want to be doing into the future. That helps us dial in what we're doing today. That is one significant benefit of taking the time to create your 10-year goal, your long-term goal. Have I convinced you? Will you even give it a thought? If you've got questions, remember you can reply to the email. I answer all emails that come back to me. Bye for now.